to another episode of Philly to Detroit Boxing, man. We got a very special guest on with us, man. We got George Garcia, father and coach of 160 pounder Elijah Garcia. How you doing, coach?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on.
For sure, man. Appreciate you, like I said earlier, for taking the time out. But if you wouldn't mind kind of, just kind of giving us a small synopsis of how y'all got started in this journey, man. Obviously, Elijah's only 20 years old. He a young dude, man, doing this thing right now. How did y'all get started?
So it's kind of a long story. Of course, my dad boxed. My dad's dad boxed. I boxed. I was on the U.S. boxing team from 2000 to 2004, and then I was traveling on the team, and I made the. I lost in the U.S. trials in '04, so I went and fought for Mexico. We kind of I knew them, just from traveling and stuff. So I was kind of had like a backup plan to go to Mexico if I didn't make the U.S. team. Enough about me. So I have three boys. Elijah's my oldest. I have Elijah, Alexis, and Emilio. And I had them doing sports growing up, except for boxing. And my dad runs a boxing gym, so I took them there for like Christmas. I work for a high school district, so I get 2 weeks off in December. So I took them there. There was a break from wrestling, and then we're driving home one day. Elijah was like 12 years old, and 12 or 13. He says, "I want to box," and I was like, it was our last day. It was like a Friday, and we weren't going to go back because school was going to start. And my dad's gym's, it's quite away from us. So he goes, "I want to box." I go, "You want to box?" I was like, "Man, that's too much time, man. We got to go you can't just show up a couple days out of the week, for boxing. You got to go every day." And, having other kids, they have other sports they like to do as well. So, but anyway, we went back, and then that's how it started, man. When he was 12 years old, when he was 13, he had his first fight. 14 years old, he was nationals. I think 15, he won the U.S. Championships, which is the biggest tournament, that amateur boxing has. And then 16 years old, he got his girlfriend pregnant. And then we were fighting the same guys at nationals. Every tournament in the finals, he was fighting the same guys, winning, losing, winning, losing. He made the team, and COVID had hit, so he wasn't able to travel. He was supposed to go to Azerbaijan to go fight, and it just didn't work out. But we turned him pro. He was talking about we turned him pro. I told him, "Look, man," I said, "he's 16 years old. I'll give you 4 years when you're 20. If we're not doing anything, if you're not going in the right direction, making some money or potential to make some money, you just boxing could be a hobby, and you have to get a job because you have your kids to take care of." So when he was 18, we came to the U.S. We're fighting in Mexico because he was 16 years old. So I think he had 4 or 5 fights in Mexico. We got to the U.S. We fought all nothing but undefeated guys. One guy was 3-0, and then I think there was a guy 5-0. Then we fought another guy, and he was like 3-11, but he was still decent. He hadn't been stopped and stuff like that. So PBC came into town. We fought on one of their cards. The Zone came in, and then PBC snatched us up. They didn't want us to fight for anybody else. We went and met with Tom Brown. I actually fought for Tom Brown in 2007. I was a main event card in Minnesota. It was what was it? It was like a Showbox or something like that. And so I had known him from that. But Eli fought for them. And when he was 18, when we signed, he goes, "Looks like you got to train me a little bit longer now." But now he's doing pretty well for himself. He's only 20 years old. So
how the Al Heyman opportunity came about. You remember the first time he reached out to y'all?
So Eli's manager, he was my manager, and he's good friends with Tom Brown, and Tom Brown is TGB Promotions. So they had seen us fight, and he said, "Bring that kid down here." We brought him down there. He signed us. He saw us fight a couple times, and we signed with Tom Brown. So that's how it got done.
And then, kind of in your perspective, how is kind of like the son and father duo within boxing? Is it because we sometimes can see it kind of go left with some father and sons, but we see it flourish. Obviously, y'all are doing y'all thing.
Yeah.
How do you kind of, from your perspective, to see that?
Well, so I was fighting since I was 8 years old. I had my last fight. I was 24, I believe. And my dad was real tough on me, so he didn't have my dad wrestled most of his high school. Well, he wrestled all the way through high school. He didn't go to college or anything. So he was about 23 years old when he started boxing. So my dad's, they learned the old school way. So he trained me the same way, and I was a heavyweight. I'm 5'10" heavyweight, So I learned a lot, man. I learned a lot from my dad. I learned, what to do, what not to do. And then when I was on the team, um, I met a lot of good coaches. I met a lot of good fighters. I was in the Mexico camp. I was out there for almost a year. I was on the U.S. team for 4 years traveling with all those guys. So I got to meet a lot of coaches. I got to learn a lot of stuff coming up. So I didn't put the kids in boxing for a reason, just because I know how it is, and I know losing weight sucks, and running and training and all that stuff. So when they wanted to box, when he decided to turn pro, I had a plan already. I had a plan. I reached out to a friend of, or Eli's manager. His name's Anthony McDonald. I reached out to him. I laid out the plan for him. I said, "Let's do this." He said, "All right," and then it was, the rest is history. I mean, we haven't done nothing too great yet, but he's on his way, man. So we're not trying to shy away from nobody.
And how's the prime video going to work out? Because I know y'all was with Showtime, but Showtime not with boxing no more. So how does that work?
So if you have Prime, there's the two fights are going to come out, and then once Elijah's fight ends, he'll be the main event. They're going to switch over to the pay-per-view portion. So I'm guessing Elijah will probably get more views. His fight will get more views because it's going to be free, and then people are going to decide if they want to pay to watch, which I think is a really good card, man. Lara's going to fight Zafara. Then you have what's his name, Sebastian Fundora. That's going to be a great fight. Then you have Tim Zoo, and then the co-main you have Rolly and Pitbull, man. That's going to be. I mean, that's a great card. Like, that's good boxing to me. That's a good night of boxing. Just those 4 fights alone. Those are all main events right there. So that's how it's going to play out. We're going to stay there. We want to watch Lara and Zafara fight. We're hoping to get the winner of that fight, before the end of the year. So.
All right. And I remember you just said you had a plan. What year you want him to be in world title talks?
So obviously there's 4 different belts right now, and the one belt that we would go after would be the WBA. So like I mentioned, we wanted the winner of Lara and Zafara. So Lara's going to be fighting. He's a WBA champ, world champ, because he inherited the belt from, I don't know who he inherited it from, but because he was the interim champ. So so now he's the regular champ. He's gonna fight Zafara. I think Zafara was taking like step aside money, because remember Danny Garcia was gonna fight. He was gonna fight Lara for the world title. It was a catchweight anyway. So no disrespect to Lara. Lara's like 41, 42 years old. If say we fight Lara, or depending on who wins, like Lara's a gold medalist. He's ex-champion. He is a champion. Like, that'd be a great. I mean, it'd be a great win. It also wouldn't be a bad loss. You know what I'm saying? 20-year-old kid fighting somebody like that. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a Cuban gold medalist. Like, I mean, there's no shame in losing a close fight if it's a close fight. But I honestly think we could beat him. So.
How would you describe Elijah's style? Is that kind of like, did you guys fight like that, or were you guys taught like that? He kind of like a pressure fighter. He makes it real entertaining, man. I love watching him fight, man.
So he I was a pressure fighter. Obviously, my dad was, because my dad, like I said, my dad, he didn't have a lot of fights. He just came forward through punches, and I was a short heavyweight, so I could move a little bit. But Elijah's style evolved over the years. So he's tall. He likes to fight on the inside though. So I noticed, like, at his first fight, he was kind of stand up, in and out. Oh, he is right here, in and out. And as time went on, like, he noticed he started hitting harder. So he liked to work on the inside. So I said, I started watching different videos. Like, I would watch Andre Ward. We kind of mimic him a little bit, where he's catching on the inside, using his hands a lot. And then I watched a lot of James Toney. There's Elijah right there.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, champ? How you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Good, man.
So that's kind of the style. It's little James Toney. Like, I know people say he's got to work on his defense, but if you watch all the his last few fights, he's fighting guys that are throwing they're high volume punchers.
Yeah.
You know, they're high volume punchers, and it's only maybe to about where he's about the third round where he stops. He doesn't get hit as much. You know, a lot of those punches are being deflected. They're going off his arm. They're going off his shoulder. Off his elbow and stuff like that. But that's all. You know, a lot of the defense that we work. So, you know, and even in the last fight when he fought Resendez, so I know it looked like he got hit in the second round, but he kind of he tripped over his foot, man. I watched that over and over, and he came back. He was like, man, I tripped over his foot. They thought he kind of got caught, but he didn't. But he does make exciting fights because he likes to come forward. So
we were actually just talking about that not too long ago. We was like, man, you just make the fight super exciting, man, because it's like you kind of dare to be hit, but your defense is really good, but you also like pressuring the guys. It just make for a really exciting fight, man.
I mean, honestly, like that's what people want to see. They want to see exciting fights. You know, like I know, yeah, you got to give a few things up, but like I said, after the third round, you don't see him getting hit as much. He don't really get his hit as much as it looks like. But you know, he wants to put on a show. You know, like our game plan for that last fight, because Resendez is a pressure fighter. He's a high volume puncher. So what do? We made him do that, but we made him work overtime. Like Eli was putting the pressure on him. So normally Resendez threw, I think, 70 punches a round. At one round, he threw 140. He was wore out, man. By that third, fourth, fifth round, he was starting to get wore out. And Eli just kept putting we call it good pressure. Like sometimes he comes forward, he's not throwing any punches. He just puts that good pressure on him, keeps coming, he keeps coming. And Resendez, like you can slowly see him declining, and Eli just picks it up as the rounds go on, you know.
Yeah.
So, but that's part of the game, man. Like, I mean, longevity. You know, you want to make some money in this sport, but you also want to remember your name. You know, you want everybody to remember your name and put on a good fight. So, you know, that's what it's all about. Like, you know, you don't. And none of the 20-year-olds. The guys that you mentioned, like, no disrespect to them, but they're good fighters. They're knocking their guys out, but nobody's fighting guys in the top 10. You know, they're not fighting. Like we went in Vidal, they told us, hey, this is a 60-40 fight. We had this fight for you. It's going to be on Showtime. I told them I'm gonna think about it. Already in my head, I told them I would take it because I had seen Vidal fight, and in the interview before when they had they had mentioned I had an idea that we were going to fight Vidal down the line because he's the same weight as us. Me and Elijah were sitting there watching TV. I said, "You're probably going to fight this guy. You know, you're going to have to fight this guy." But you know, we ended up fighting him. I kind of knew, kind of had a game plan before we even, down the line of fighting him. So, and we had a game plan. We had a great game plan to fight him, and it worked out pretty good.
You got Carlos Adames on your side of the street. How long until you try to make that fight?
So that's one of the guys I was talking about. So like that dude, he's a monster, man. He's a beast. You know, like we're not trying to rush Eli in there with him. You know, not yet. Maybe 2 years. You know what I mean? He's 20, 22. Send him this way. You know what I mean? 23 years old. Like
Benavidez didn't fight Carone until he was 24.
Yeah, Benavidez didn't fight him to Carone Davis. He was 24 years old. They kind of just throw him in there because it's kind of hard to get David fights because he's killing everybody, you know. But we fought on that card, so you know I think we're taking good steps. Like Carone's a good fighter, man. He's like I've been watching his fights. I've been doing study on him, and like he was a good amateur. Yeah, he lost to David, but he was hanging in there. He was fighting. He moved up on weight. He got a draw with Durrell. And like a lot of these fights, we know how it is. Like they call these guys 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance, and they tell me, "You guys want to fight?" And they take it. They take it because it's good money, you know. So he's like he said, Carone he's had a camp for this fight. This is the first time he's had a camp. So that's, you know, that's even better for Eli's resume. To say, hey, this guy, he was in shape, he was ready to go, and we fought him. You know, we took it to him. So that's the plan, at least. You know, like I said, we respect Carone. He's a good fighter. I've been watching his fights. He's very slick. He's smart. He's a good counter puncher, you know. But fortunately, we got to fight him. So.
And then Elijah, man, being a young father, man, and you know, in this crazy game of boxing, man, how do you kind of balance it out? Is it kind of tough for you, or is it kind of like you kind of used to it now?
It's just cool about having a team. It's just cool about having a wife, a mom. They play a big role. Fight camp. I just worry about training and doing what I need to do to win. So I'm here with my kids right now, but you know, I'm gone majority of the day. So that's what's cool about having a team. It don't I don't get distracted, and I'm able to still spend time with my kids and family.
Yeah, he's busy. He's busy all day, man. Like whether he's running at 5 in the morning, he comes back. He got some different appointments. People want to interview him. Then we do like a midday training, stretching, and then evening training and stuff like that. So, um, honestly, like I told him I wouldn't train them. I wouldn't be training them because I have two other boys that they play other sports. I wouldn't waste my time if he wasn't this dedicated. And the reason he's like, even I boxed, I didn't put a lot into it, and you know how they say, you get what you put into it. Like he's put it all into it, bro. He's putting everything into it, and he's getting back everything. He's getting everything he deserves, and more. So, but um, he sacrificed a lot. We all ate. He had some salmon and stuff. We got a nutritionist, but everybody ate right now. I had to cook some hot dogs for the kids and some steaks, and he's over there eating a piece of salmon with some spinach and stuff. But that's the sacrifice it takes. Like I don't know if you guys have kids or if you guys have a family and stuff, but like if you're the dad, yeah, you got to miss birthdays.
Fun time.
Yeah, miss fun time. You miss all kinds of parties and stuff like that. Just you sacrifice yourself for your family, and that's what he's doing as a young man, and I'm very proud of him for doing that, man. Like he's putting himself aside. I told him just dedicate the next 10 years, man. You'll be shit. We can make half the money Canelo made, and not duck anybody. Fight all the guys fight everybody. You'll have a great name, and you'll make some money. The sport will give you everything that you want from it. So. Yep.
You on your way too, man.
I'm about to say, Elijah, you only 20 years old. How high up in weight do you feel like you could go?
168. That'd be the most, man. I make 160 no problem. I'm not too far off of weight right now. You know what I mean? So I make 160 pretty easy. 168's the most I'll do it. You won't see me fighting at 175, and I guarantee you that.
But you never know. But like he does make weight fairly easy. He's pretty, like I said, he stays in the gym. Like he'll take a month or whatever off, or not a month, a week off after his fight, and then he'll get back in the gym. I tell him, hey man, just go 2 days a week, go run a couple days out of the week. You don't have to sacrifice everything if you're not fighting. Then when we're fighting out, it's fight time. We got about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it is, and we step it up, and he's in halfway shape. Not too heavy. So, but like he said, it takes a whole team. My wife is a big help. Now that Elijah, he's having these bigger fights, she's stays home. She quit her job, and she's able to make. So we have a nutritionist, but my wife makes his food, and like the food's very important for him. Like when I was training, it was like just drink a little bit of water, have a salad, and that's it. Like, but this guy's he's eating, he's eating good. And then like I said, his wife helps out with the kids. He has 2 kids, and we live on a ranch here, so like he's busy here working with the animals and stuff like that. And like I said, my wife, she's making his food, she's running errands, she's taking the kids here and there, she's taking the cars to get the oil change, whatever it needs. Everybody's doing it. We got his Nina, she's here, she helps us. His godmother, she helps us. Like we need stuff. And he has 2 brothers, they help out. Like my middle son, like he used to box, but he's doing high school sports right now. He helps out with the mitts. I like to watch him hit the mitts. If I'm holding the mitts, well, my dad does it as well, but my middle son will do it. Like if I'm holding the mitts, I can't see what he's doing wrong. So yeah. I gotta. And then my middle son, he knows our style because I trained him as well. So it's a whole team thing here, and like if everybody buys in, like Elijah does, I feel like it's just gonna help us succeed and go to the next level. So
yeah. And then Elijah, man, you seem like a real cool, laid back guy, man. Do you feel like any pressure on your back being that you're so young, man? Your name is kind of ringing right now. Do you kind of feel some pressure from that? And you about to be on this huge card, first Amazon Prime card. Do you kind of feel that?
No, not really. I've been after the Vidal fight. That prepared me for everything. That prepared me for everything. The pay-per-views. I fought on 2 of the highest cards. So, it's nothing. My biggest thing is, I want to win and I want to look good. And that's the only thing I'm worried about. I could care less about who's watching me or what anybody has to say. I'm just there. I'm just there to win.
We had fought Kevin Salgado. He had fought Vidal, and then we fought Kevin Salgado. Man, he was
That was the best
yeah,
fight.
that was the best fight. That's the best fight we could have had. Like Kevin Salgado was a tough guy. It was a close fight, but I know Elijah felt like Elijah won at least 7-3 or 6-4. But um, Kevin, like,
He had a good game
yeah, he
plan.
had a good game plan. So not that we weren't prepared, but the fight was so quick. Like I kind of watched the video on him and stuff like that. But he did what you're supposed to. Like, if you're a 25-year-old guy, you're fighting a 19-year-old kid. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go in there. You're gonna rough him up. That's exactly what Kevin did, and I give him all the credit. Him and his team. Yeah, he bullied Eli, and like he hadn't experienced that yet. Kevin went in there. He was hitting him low. He hit Eli low. He wasn't like, it wasn't overly low. Like, it was just low. He's hit him in the hip, hitting him. He headbutted Elijah a couple times. But it was like part of the sport. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't doing it like to intentionally hurt Eli, but
Win.
yeah, he wanted to win. And like his career was on the line. He said, and he fought like it. Like we learned a lot from that fight. Because Eli just thought, oh man, it was just maybe just a accidental headbutt or accidental low blow. But I was like, no, man, like he was doing it on purpose. After we watched the tape, he was like, man, he was doing it on purpose. So like now he's kind of had it in his head to, like, these guys.
Hits me in the nuts
Yeah,
once,
if
maybe.
he hits me in the nuts once or twice, I'm gonna hit him back. Like, and that. I mean, it's just something he hasn't dealt with yet. So now that set us up perfectly for the Resendez fight, because um, there was a few things we had to work on. We had a few things we had to work on, and I think we wouldn't have done as well in the Resendez fight if we didn't fight Kevin Salgado. I think that was a great fight for Elijah to go all 10 rounds. Kevin was tough as hell. Give him all the credit. Like, I know he was kind of upset. Like, they had the words that got turned around where they're saying Eli was going to knock him out and this and that. Which obviously we're trying to. He was trying to knock us out too, but Eli never said that. But like he goes in every fight fighting as hard as he can, putting on a good show. So.
Who's some of the best guys you ever been in the ring with in terms of sparring?
Uh, Jesus Ramos, me and him are good sparring partners. We spar when we need each other, but for the
Oh,
most
that's
part, I don't see myself as a sparring partner. I don't go out there and spar Canelo or David or Kill Plant. I don't see myself being used as a heavy bag or whatever. I spar to get myself better, and people think it's all about hard sparring. It's not. It's about getting better and what you need to work on. So there is times where you do need to pick it up for competitive sparring, but I'm not going to go in there with sparring the top guys thinking that I'm gonna get something out of it, because I'm not. That's how it goes.
Do you feel
Yeah,
like
I never saw I never saw anything in that. Like, people say, oh, I spar with Canelo, I spar this. They probably got their butts kicked too. Like,
yeah,
yeah, it's good experience, but like, yeah, like Eli said, he ain't no sparring partner, man. Like, we've been sparring with some kid. There's a 17-year-old kid in our gym. His name's Sebastian Mitri, and he's coming up under Elijah.
He's getting real good, and we stopped sparring with him because he's not a sparring partner.
Yeah. So like, we work with guys like that. Like, he goes in there and works. There's a couple days like when he's got it's more the intensity. It's not like sparring hard, because they go hard. He's gonna be in great shape, but it's just intensity. Like Jesus Ramos, like he's just he's been there. Yeah, he's a world class. He's one of the best in the world. He's a world class fighter, and like if Elijah messes up, he knows. He knows if I mess up, if I overthrow this punch, if I'm being lazy, he's gonna counter me. He's gonna yeah, he's gonna hit me. He's gonna. So he's got to stay on his toes. That's the intensity that we need. Like the hard sparring. Like, you can find tough guys anywhere. We go in there and spar hard with anybody, but it's just that intensity. Like, I don't think. I'm sure Canelo would be tough sparring, or David Benavidez. Because they are good, but. Yeah, you don't see David spar. David spars with the guys in his gym. They have great fighters over there, and so.
What's kind of y'all goals for 60? Is it like, I know obviously a lot of people want to go undisputed, but is it kind of like, do you want to just get a belt and kind of move up to 68 and just trying to campaign there for the rest of your career?
Nah, it's more about staying at 160 as long as I can. I'm ranked number 2 WBA, and I know Lara and that number 1 contender are gonna fight right after me, so I'd like to get a title shot. That's what I think I deserve, and you want to take it one step at a time. So we gotta get to Caron. I want to get that title, and then hopefully we could challenge the rest of the division. But you know how that works. It takes a while. To
Yeah.
fight everybody.
So the thing about Elijah is like Corone's the number one thing on his mind right now, right? We know he's good. He's tough. Like we have to get past him first. There's no overlooking him. But if we do fight for the title, they're talking about like September because these older guys they want to fight once or twice a year. So we would like to fight 3 months after this fight. Take a week off, get back in the gym, and then fight 2.5, 3 months later. Eli wants to fight 4 times a year. Like he wants to fight 4 times a year, man. James Toney. I watched James Toney. He fought a month later. When he won the world title, his first world title, I think he fought a month or two later. So like just stay active, stay busy. It's better than being in the gym. I'd rather just get prepared for a fight. So
that's
just fight, man.
If you never fought before, or you never been if you never fought before, if you've never been at this this high level class, then it's hard to explain. But I'm here to fight, and you see other kids my age, or you see other fighters just in general that want to fight once or twice, and they're happy. But I guess I'll never be satisfied until I'm done with the sport. I guess I'm here to fight. I'm here to fight the best, and I'm here to win titles.
Right. And do you guys possibly think? I know you said kind of like the world champions, they can only fight once or twice a year, but do you think like hypothetically you get to that Canelo stage? Do you think it might be like, I'm making 50 M's a fight, man. I'm fighting once a year.
Once I told him, man, if you get to that point, then you might as well just quit. You know what I mean? Like you might as well just quit. Like if you don't want to fight every 3 or 4 months like you do right now, then just quit. Like it'd be nice. You fight. Let's see, you fight February or March, and then March, April, May, June. Like fight again May, June, July, August. Fight August 4 times a year, man. That'd be good. Just like old school fighters, man. Like. So you kind of see the fighters transition. What you hear Teofimo Lopez talking about, like all these guys are friends. They don't want to fight each other. It's true, man. They're all friends. Like if you're friends, you should be fighting those guys to make them some money. Like Mike Tyson used to say, hey, if those guys are really your friends, you fight them. And that's what they used to do. They used to fight each other. Like, all right, well, they're making $10-20 million. Like go in there and fight.
I fight my best friend for $1 million.
Man.
Yeah, man. It's like like I was saying, I feel like boxing. There's kind of split right now. There's guys going one way, like you have guys trying to fight everybody, and then you have these guys that are not trying to fight everybody. And I think they're weeding them out. They're starting to weed them out. Like the loss shouldn't matter so much. Like you go in there, you have a good tough fight, you put on a great fight. Well, a lot of it's the fans too, man. The fans, you lose. Oh, this guy sucks. He sucks. He ain't shit. Whatever. Like you go in there, you fight. At Teofimo, he lost. He came back and he won. And you just got to.
People still don't like him, but he gets paid.
Yeah, people still don't like him, like Eli said, man. But you got to. If you were going in there trying to fight the best, like how can you knock a guy? Especially if you're putting on a good fight. I can understand you go in there, you get knocked out. Nobody wants to see a guy get knocked out over and over and over. But you go in there putting on good fights, and hopefully boxing takes that turn, man, and you can see good fights again. Like a lot of people don't like Ryan Garcia, man, but he's fighting Devin Haney. I knew they were gonna fight. That's the best fight for Devin Haney because he's gonna make the most money in that fight. Like he's making the most money fighting Ryan Garcia. Like if he fights Shakur Stevenson, he's only gonna make maybe a couple $1 million. You fight Ryan Garcia, you gotta make $20 million, man.
Right.
Yeah, like it's probably Devin will probably beat him. Maybe. I think Devin will probably beat him, but
Ryan, you get a couple tune-up fights.
Yeah, Ryan will just get tune-up fights again, and then fight Tank and make it, or who's Teofimo Lopez, and then make Teofimo Lopez $20 million because that they ain't making that much money. They need Ryan Garcia to make all that money. What's he making, like $10 million a month just on YouTube?
Right? Yeah, probably so. Literally.
Yeah. So
Ryan Wilder right now.
Yeah. I mean, whatever he's doing, man, I think like he's taking the fight. How old is he? 24, 25 years old? Yeah,
about like 25, 26.
So he fought Tank, right? Tank hasn't fought him. I mean, he hasn't fought like the four guys. He hasn't fought Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, right? So, but Ryan Garcia fought Tank. He's gonna fight Devin Haney. He's probably gonna fight all the guys. You know, like how can you knock a guy for that? Even if he went in there, but I think he went 5 rounds. We saw him because we fought on that card, and Elijah was like, "Man, Dad, did you see him?" And I was like, "Yeah, man. He looks sucked down. He looks small. He's supposed to be like 5'9". He was no, he was little. He was small, man. He's sucked down, just dying in the weigh-ins. You know, so when he fought, you know, he wasn't. I want you know, he wasn't like probably at his best, but he still fought. He took the fight, you know. He's fighting
Right.
Devin Haney. Yeah, like I said, man, hey, all those guys, they're doing their thing. They're doing great, but like you know, if you can't knock Ryan Garcia, he's making the fight. Devin Haney's making the fight. Ryan Garcia's making the fight. Tank, we don't know who he's gonna fight next. You know, Teofimo Lopez. I feel like he wants to fight anybody as well. So
Yeah. How y'all feel about the Canelo David Benavidez situation? Canelo just
yeah,
turned 55 million.
yeah. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, if you're making $50 million fight, yeah, you fight whoever you want. You know, like he's pretty much done. You know, he's done. Like they said, 2 years fight David. Like 2 years, he probably won't even be boxing no more. You know, he's what I think he's like 33 years old, 32.
But he has 60 pro fights.
Yeah, he got 60 pro fights.
That's 60 camps.
Yep.
60
So
wins.
Yeah,
he turned pro.
He turned pro at 15 years old, so he really been around for a long. He really an old 33.
Yeah, he's an old 33, man.
Yeah, he was 5 years a professional when he was 20 already.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
it's like 66 total fights or something like that.
Yeah, that's a lot of fights, man. It's like a lot of people don't like Canelo either, man. But like he's fought everybody. Like no matter who he fights, people are not going to be happy. He's 33 years old. He don't fight David. He fought Bivol. He went up fought Bivol. He lost. Like I wouldn't fight David either, man. He's a monster. Like I mean, I don't blame him. Like he makes $50 million fighting. You know, he's gonna fight Munguia. Like Munguia's good. I didn't think Munguia was that great until I seen him this last fight. I think what's his name? Freddie Roach really helped out a lot. Like Munguia. I feel like Munguia wants to get better. You know, and he's actually like I seen some different stuff out of him. Like in that fight, you know, some adjustments that he wouldn't have made before. You know, or he wasn't making before. But so it's possible he might give Canelo a good fight because he has a hell of a chin, and he hits hard as hell. So, like I'm a boxing fan, man. I used to box. I had 15 pro fights. I had like 100 amateur fights, and like I'm a boxing fan above, you know, well second, you know, to coaching him. But you know, we're just like anybody else, you know, trying to make it, just, you know, trying to make it. And he wanted to be a world champion. I'm doing my best to help boxing be his you know, just be a dream come true, you know, like just American dream, trying to just end it doing boxing. So
Right. Elijah, your pops kind of gave us you know, a brief understanding about how you got started with the sport, but you kind of in, you know, just in amateur boxing terms got started kind of late at 12, 13, and then you turned pro, you know, 4 years later. Just like, could you tell us about like what made you want to, you know, be on that car ride and be like, I want to box? Was it, you know, your granddad's gym, just kind of being around that?
Yeah, you know, hanging out in the gym. I made a best friend. You know, I want to hang out with my best friend. We were training, we were having fun, and then you know, I started fighting. I started winning, and you know, going on road trips. You know, that's fun. Going on road trips, experiencing these different cities. You know, fighting. You know, that's all fun. And then you know, you come to the moment where you know you win your first nationals, and then you know, maybe you want to take it serious. You know, and then you win another nationals. You make the USA team, and then you know you realize you have skill. So yeah, that's kind of my case. You know, I realized I might be able to do something with it. I've always been in sports. I knew I wanted to be a professional athlete. You know, I never really cared too much about school, and you know, that's what happened. I became a professional boxer and stuck with it.
And then kind of going to the card you about to be on, man. How do you see some of them fights playing out? Just kind of going to that main card. How do you see that Zoo Thurman and Rolly Pitbull?
I see. I'm not too excited to see Pitbull fight again after his last performance. I feel
Yeah,
like he should have knocked that dude out, but he wasn't touching and he was loading up on all his shots. And to be honest, the other dude, I don't know his name, but he had one hell of a chin. You know,
I think
he
his
had
name is Giovanni
he's moving
Cabrera
around.
or something like that.
rock the brains, man. But maybe it'll be an interesting fight. Rolly's, he comes to fight, he comes to hit hard. He wants to knock people out. So I'm not sure what's going to happen in that fight. It might be a boring fight. Who you don't know. But I see Tim Zoo putting hands on Thurman. That's what I think. I think Thurman's a little old. I think he has the experience, but he's a little old. Tim Zoo's hungry and he wants to fight the best and win these big fights.
Well, Thurman's been out for 2.5 years too, man. Like
Yeah,
when you get that old, he knows too. Like he says, "Oh, I'm gonna come back fresh,
He's
whatever."
gonna make money.
Yeah, he's gonna make some money, but like when you're out for 2.5 years, man, you're just getting older. Nobody wins against Father Time. Like you're just gonna get older. I don't see him gonna be better than what he was. And Tim's like Eli said, Tim's is he's the dog, man. He's coming to fight. He's hungry. He wants to make a name for himself. Keith Thurman was. I mean, he's a great fighter, but like man, just all that time, just the time alone, I think is the time off alone is gonna play a big factor for him. So.
yeah. Just from your perspective, kind of going back to Keith Thurman, like, does that ring rust really play a part? Like, obviously, he's been out for 2 years in between, or 4 years in between two fights. So, does that ring rust really play a factor when you out of the ring like that? Do you feel it when you in there?
Yeah, 100%. If I were to take like a month off or two, and I come in and start training or whatever, I'd get my ass kicked. My timing's off. I'm slow. I'm fat. You know, it's not the same. You got to stay in the gym. You got to stay sharp. But most importantly, you got to stay active. I think that's why that's why I did so good last year because I was active. I fought 4 times, and I fought 5 times in 12 months. You know what I mean? I stayed active, and that plays a big role. That's why you're able to you know have such a good performance because you're always in shape. You're always in camp. You're always fighting. So, but at that height, I don't know. I'm not sure.
And Thurman, I mean, and Eli's only 22, but you
Yeah,
never know. Like Thurman's been boxing for a long time, so like his experience could
Play a factor.
play a big factor. Because Tim Tszyu, I thought he was gonna. I like Brian Mendoza, man. I thought Brian Mendoza was tough, man. I thought,
He's can't work on the inside. That's
yeah,
what I mean.
that's what messed him up. He wasn't able to work on the inside. He's more of a boxer type, but we were rooting for Mendoza just because we met him when we went to go spar at Salas Gym, and just he's a journeyman. We saw him fight Ramos, and he gave Ramos a hard time. Like Ramos couldn't knock him out, but we root for the underdog like that, man.
Yeah, I like to see the underdog win. And I don't
and
know
he
why. It's like,
Pandora knockout too.
Oh,
yeah,
that was beautiful.
crazy. Yeah, yeah, that was crazy.
I
So
said, what was your reaction to the Errol Spence and Bud Crawford fight?
Errol Spence is my favorite fighter. I like the way he fights. I thought he had a good style. To be honest, I've never really seen Crawford fight. All I knew is, Errol Spence is.
That's wild.
I thought he was the best in the division. I thought he was the big shark, and I don't know. Crawford just tore him up. I still like Spence. I still like Spence. He's still my favorite fighter, but I think Terrence Crawford's probably the best boxer in the sport right now.
yeah, that's why I think people don't understand. Like, you can have a favorite fighter, and there could be the best boxer in the world. There's a difference. Like, I think people get mixed up, and that's the problem when somebody loses. They're like, "Oh man, this guy sucks," or "He ain't no good no more." You can still have a favorite fighter. Like, I like James Toney, man. He lost about 10 times, but he can fight. Yeah, Pacquiao lost a bunch of times. De La Hoya lost a bunch of times. Everybody
That's what
separate.
happens when you fight the best.
Yeah, you're fighting the best guys. Like,
You gotta come back and win.
yeah. So
That's why I don't know. That's why I take like these 50-50 fights, and man, I just want to get better. I care less about losing. I just want to get better and get that experience that I need. So when the time comes to fight for that world title, with a loss or without a loss, I know I'll be ready.
Sure.
We ain't trying to lose though, but because
Yeah, I'm not. I'm,
he
yeah.
trains way too hard. He trains way too hard. He's a student of the game. He's a student. I tell him to watch the fight. He goes and watches it, and I'll come back and I'll be like, "Hey man, do you see this? Do you see that?" He's like, "Man, I really like how Andre Ward dips right here. He catches, he steps over, he does this, he does that." I can watch Andre Ward film all day. I could watch James Toney all day just because James Toney's defense is,
Man.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy, man. And like he had so many fights against different style fighters. Donald Curry fought when he fought Barkley. Like he just his style. It's good style. So, and that's why Eli fights. Like I didn't train him to fight the way he fights. It just evolved. His style evolved over the years. He like noticed. All right, it's easier for me to come forward. Like instead of box and move, I come forward throwing punches all day. And then it's exciting too when you watch these guys fight. So
Have you guys been watching Lara a lot? Because I know that's the fight that y'all want. Well, y'all want the winner, but it's expected to be Lara. He kind of a mover. So going to, he
Last time I seen him fight was when he fought Hurd. He fought that Irish dude. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Crap out that Irish guy, but what's his name? O'Sullivan. Remember, he beat the hell out of him.
I watch all the film.
I'll worry about that when the time comes.
I watch all the film, and then I do all the studying, and I tell Eli this is what I want to do, and I noticed this, I noticed that, and I'll send him the videos, tell him what I want. I'll send him little clips, and then he understands. Like there's people you got to tell him and then show him.
Yeah.
I've told Eli stuff in the corner that we worked on a long time ago. Hey man, remember this and that? He goes, yeah. He goes out and he does it in the middle of a fight. So that's a good thing about Elijah. Like, he's I can't even show him sometimes in the corner. I'll like just see me do these stupid moves, and I'll be in the corner, like, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like,
that's just the benefit of having that as a coach. I mean, usually elder fighters they want to bring their dad in to be their head coach, but the dad doesn't have the experience, or to be honest, sometimes the fighters aren't as good as they think they are, and like my dad has the experience. He fought in the ring. My grandpa has the experience. He's fought in the ring, and it just all pours into me, and I'm able to understand both of them, and I know what they're talking about. And not that they can just tell me to do something and they expect me to do it, but it's because we work on it in the gym, and so we just have a real good connection. And like I said, my dad has experience in the ring. He's a really good coach. He's a good teacher, and he's been in there with some of the best fighters in the world. Like he's been in the ring. The same boxing gym as Victor Ortiz. Andre Ward. He's been on the same boxing team with them. He knows them all, and he knows what it takes to be a world champion. He's seen him train, and that's the difference between my dad and my coaching. So
it's funny that he says that because so there's like he said, a lot of dads train the fighters. Well, there's one dad told me he's like, oh yeah, the great thing about you is you guys really click. It was like a backhanded compliment. He said you guys really click, so it works for you guys. Like I was training my son, blah blah, and I had to go. We had to bring another trainer because we just didn't. I'm like, no, it's because you don't know what the hell you're doing. Like once you get to a certain level, not that I know everything, but like I really study, man. Like after I quit boxing, I wasn't around for a while, and then I started. Then when Eli started training, I started watching a lot of fights. I started studying. I started doing a lot. I told Elijah, if we expect you to get it better, I got to get better as a coach. Let me get it there. I'm sorry. I got to get better as a coach. So I had to get better as a coach, like as a teacher, and I learned a lot from my dad. I learned a lot, like I said, from all these trainers around, from being around. But
he was on the USA boxing team for a long time. He hung out with lots of Olympians, lots of amateurs that went on to be world champions. They all know my dad. I mean, it's a small world. We live out here in Arizona. There's not a lot of good fighters from Arizona, and like my dad's just someone that knows, someone that's been around, and I don't know. It's hard to believe, but like my dad knows everybody. Like they can see my dad, and just tell me stories.
Yeah, because when I fought, I went to Mexico. I was there with Abner Matas. I was there for like 6 months because Abner was on the 04 team. So who was it? Francisco? They called him El Bandido. He was there too, but I know. So Abner was every time he like fights, though, I was on the team with George the last fight. He said I feel old because I was on the team with George, and now his kids boxing. I'm commentating, so but yeah.
Jason Estrada.
Yeah, Jason Estrada. Jason Estrada. So he was pro as well, but he went to the Olympics in 2004 as a super heavyweight. Devin Vargas is a really good friend of mine.
Siler.
Yeah, he went to the Olympics in 2004. He was a heavyweight. And then Andre Durrell, or not, yeah, Andre Durrell, Anthony Durrell, and then who was it? Andre Ward? Andre Ward won the gold medal. He's the only one won the medal that year. But I was in camp with him a couple of times. So yeah, he was older than me though.
That was the last medal USA won. Last gold medal USA won.
Oh yeah, yep. Because you got Shakur, he won silver, and it Clarissa Shields, he won 2 golds. She's female, so.
Sean Davis got silver.
Oh yeah.
That was
Hey, we appreciate you guys having us on, man. It's pretty cool. You know, like he's busy a lot of times, and honestly, he doesn't like doing these kind of things. But this, you know, thank you guys for having us. And I know it's very important that Eli gets on there. He just wants to fight. You know what I mean? He just wants to fight. If you guys ever run into him, like, you know,
I'll say what's up, but you know, this ain't my type of stuff right here.
No,
yeah, like we're in the backyard right now. You can hear there's frogs underneath our patio, and we have a bunch of roosters out here. We have cows, goats, and stuff.
I actually got to feed the cows right now.
That's why he came back, man. I tell you, he was running errands, and he came back just to feed the cows. So,
no, man, yeah, like I said, I appreciate y'all. Yeah, appreciate y'all for taking that time. I know y'all are busy. You don't even like doing podcasts, so this really make us feel good.
And then he did one earlier this week, and it was like I mentioned, it was Kyron's friend, so he was asking.
Oh yeah, it was excellent. He was like, "Oh, we're talking." He's like, "Actually, I know Kyron Davis. We're real close friends." And afterwards, I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
After he's like, he wanted to know, so what's your game plan? Well, Eli tells him the game plan, this and that, and then, oh, by the way, me and Kyron are best friends.
Like, okay, cool. You know, stop the interview now.
That's why you asked me, did I know them?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's happened like the past 4 times. You know, me and Kyron are real close friends. I see him in the gym, this and that. But what are you gonna do in the fight? And I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
No, man.
How about to say, give out your social medias and just let everybody know where they got to go to follow y'all at.
You guys follow me on Instagram _ Elijah Garcia Instagram. Elijah Garcia _ and then Twitter Elijah 602 Garcia, and then you can find me on Facebook. So you know, just hit me up. I appreciate you guys.
No, I appreciate you. Appreciate you too, Coach.
Right on, man. Thank you guys.
Later.
Sure, Elijah and George Garcia, man. Thank you, man. One of the best 160 pounders out right now, man.